So here we are, let's take a look at my current pedal board. What we're going to do is we're going to convert it for the Looperboard and put in that Midas 12 channel digital mixer in. So this is a bit of a sped up time lapse of me dismantling the existing power board, looking at the wiring and everything that's in between, and then with the help of my brother Lewis, who also features in the duo, and a couple of his colleagues at his workshop, we're going to try and make the best fit for all this equipment. So we've got the mixer, my Vpicelive 3 pedal board, the loop station, and a trigger for my mic switch and drum module to all fit in place in one board with easy access and a single power in, as well as some loom connectors for easy access in and out of the board. So you can see we're just kind of measuring up the spacing. Going to try and measure up the wood measurements and how everything's going to fit together on the board, and then we're going to cut down some thin plywood that's then going to be used as a base and set a suitable height. So you can see I'm just messing around with some cables, making sure we've got decent cable management in, and now just prepping the board ready for skimming down. Bit of a reposition, so we're checking the board is going to fit, that the Midas is going to go in, and what height we've got. The most important thing that I'm looking at here, you'll notice that the power entry was at the top of the board, but that was causing some blockages to get everything in, and a little light bulb moment in a minute is we're actually going to switch the board round so that the power is at the bottom. You'll notice I am putting the Looper X on there now, because the idea is that the Looper X is going to take full frame as my looper of choice. I do very much like it as a looper, however at the minute the firmware is missing a bit of functionality, so my Looperboard is going to stay on there until I'm more comfortable with the firmware and the workflow and how the effects are being routed on that. Here we go, so we found a working solution, I think, space-wise. Got my loopy mic foot switch, which is going to stay in place on there. We've got an additional auxiliary power socket, but this is how you can see where the routing is. Now, for any electrical experts or anybody of electrical safety mind, you'll notice that I've got two blue power cons coming in. I have separated the live on both of those so that you should never ever plug both blue ones in together, but if you did, it is protected. There is a loop protection in there for both, but it means that it can power in the board from whatever's most convenient based on the stage location. So what we're doing now is we're looking at all the cables, power cables that are going to be routed into the board. We're stripping them down, and we're going to actually plug them in with some crimps and some IP rated junction box to put those in. So at that point, once we'd got the space and everything organised, it was then time to bring it back to my own garage. Very messy garage at the minute, stuff everywhere. Just excited to get things going. And what we're doing here is, or what I'm doing here, is just kind of putting some Velcro and things onto the particular units, getting everything labelled up, getting all the wires and stuff together, more of the audio cables now, ready for placement on the board and getting things going. See, there's a lot of faff in here with moving around the angles of particular XLR cables that have been bought or made. Where possible, I always try and use designer cable and get some Van Dan and Nutric cables pre-made, but for some of these I do have a decent soldering station and some spare connectors and again Van Dan cable to actually make some of these myself, but sometimes just prefer getting them made professionally. So just kind of fitting all these into place, and the hardest part, you can't really see it on this with the positioning, is making sure there's very little space between the front and the bottom of the Midas, or should I say getting the Midas in with the cables in and the Vpicelive in. It is very tight. There is literally maybe a mil either side at the top and the bottom when the case goes on. Obviously one of the main concerns was making sure that everything could fit in and the case lid could fasten securely whilst keeping everything protected and also not squished. So luckily this space does work. I think we'll skip some of this video now just to get things going, you can see the final product. So as I say, I'm prepping the space for the Looper X, putting all the cables in. Just whilst you see the cables going in, just so you know what I'm doing, I have on my Looperboards, I do have I loop drums, which feature the HPD module, and I loop guitar and vocals. So the vocals and the guitar are coming on the left channel in, and I route everything on the left side on the loop tracks. And I have the drums coming on the right track, because then I can stereo split again the outputs left and right. So I've got my guitar going to my PA system, or the Midas now. So guitar and vocals can be mixed separately with different EQ, and the drum track can be mixed separately on a different EQ, but also that routing stays all the way through the input and through the tracks and everything that's recorded. So here it is, the final finished board. I've got my drum trigger on, power all routed through, USB ports there if I need them, spare plugs at the back. I've got all my leads kind of put into my loop mic switch. Inputs, looms, I still do need a couple more things, and then obviously the Midas MR12 built into the box for the iPod mixer, cables for IEM1, cables for IEM2. All in all, looking good, and a lot better cable management, a bit more to do. Oh, I should probably mention as well that this is my little custom made loom that goes up to my HPD 20 drum module. Tidy all them up, but we're good. So now in the live, we're actually set up at a gig, so you can see that is the iPad with the mixer on. You've got my drum module there on my OnStage stand, custom made for having my drum module on. The Looperboard, my trigger, my Vpicelive for guitar and vocal effects. I've also got this Morningstar MC8, which is a Midi controller for my lighting mainly, but also has a few triggers for the Looperboard. You can see I've got a tablet on the top there to control the Midas with, just as an easy access. It's constantly on charge. You saw the cables going in. I've got my loopy mic switch, which makes my vocals go from front of house into the looper. Obviously second vocalist is over there as well, who's routed into this with wireless packs. Though you'll see there a bit of the cable management, loop switch again. You'll notice I've got these little Sennheiser blocks that are receivers for Sennheiser mics up and on there. You see a bit of the lighting and how the guitars hang on the OnStage mic stand. Just a note on the OnStage mic stand, it is really good because it's got a small footprint and it's sturdy under your pedal board. These are my lights. I've got the Bambuu sticks and some Bambuu up lights that I normally plug in that are fully controlled by my foot switch, and that little laptop at the back. You can see I've just triggered those by my MIDI pedal, a little flash there to come on. But I have all sorts of effects, colour changings, and the ability to strobe from that pedal. All in all, it's a really tidy setup for my live performances. You can see I perform live at weddings and corporate events and things like that. See there my guitar packs, my in-ear monitor input as well, which again I'm using Sennheiser G4 belt pack receivers and transmitters for that with some adapters. My iPad for lyrics, my wireless mic there, and then my in-ears in my ears. So next up, let's give you a demo of how we perform live and how this all works. Usually we'll send out our mix to whichever PA system we're working with. At this point we're actually passing it to our DJ and into his sound system, but we need a full control for an in-ears and also enough energy out in the front to get a dance floor packed. It is more performances like this that we do, filling a dance floor, providing energy at events, as opposed to more of the just doing a show and everything being nice. Just to note that the sound quality won't be the best because it is just live recording from a phone and the microphone from the phone, so bear that in mind. But you can see the energy levels in the room, and yeah, so that's the setup. I will put a list in the video of all the equipment that we use, so it might help someone out, and I hope this helps you out. Somebody